of the 30th President Calvin Coolidge. I'll say his name again. President Coolidge was born here, so he became an American here. And in a different kind of way, you will be born here as new citizens today. I know he would be honored. I know he is honored. Coolidge lived in an era of immigration. He had enormous respect for immigrants and their rights. I want to read you, please, one quote from President Coolidge. "Whether one traces his Americanism back 3 centuries to the Mayflower or 3 years to the steerage is not half so as important as whether his Americanism of today is real and genuine. No matter by what various crafts we came here, we are all now in the same boat." We have a special treat for you this morning. Singing the national anthem for you today will be President Coolidge's great-granddaughter, Jenny Sales Harville. Ms. Harville has come back to New England in recent years to live near her ancestor and is an ambassador for Coolidge all across America. And we also want to thank Judge John Garvin Murtha, who will be speaking to you a bit more about Coolidge and about America. I'm looking forward to hearing his remarks. It's an honor to have the judge with us this morning. I believe the judge has been a federal judge for 21 years, so he has presided over 21 years of naturalizations, and all of them to him are special. Thank you.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' great glare, the rods bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Good morning, everybody. What a beautiful day to have a beautiful ceremony. We welcome all of you here who are about to become citizens. I've been doing this, as Michelle said, for 21 years, and each time I do it, it is a meaningful experience for me. Usually most of them are done in court, in the courthouse, and that's where, of course, I sit most of the time and have to hear events, I call them, between people, or I have to deal with people who are frankly going up to jail. So that's not very pleasant. But these are extremely pleasant ceremonies, and again, I welcome you all. I think this is the second time I've done it here in Plymouth. my wife and I are not strangers, however, because we got married right up the hill some 12 years ago. So it's, again, a wonderful place to come back to. So it's my pleasure first to introduce the various participants in the ceremony today. First of all, Dave DeMag, who is the marshal. Where did he go? He's over here on my left. Marshal DeMag has been the U.S. Marshal for the District of Vermont since 2009, and he prior served as the Chief of Police in Essex, Vermont, and also Chief of Police in St. Albans, Vermont. And further, he was a member of the Burlington, Vermont Police Department. At least didn't hit anybody. Michelle, who spoke to you introducing the entire ceremony, as she said, she is the chairman and CEO of the Calvin Coolidge Presidential Foundation. She's a columnist for Forbes magazine and the National Review, and also an author of a well-known book and very readable book, Coolidge, which is a comprehensive biography of America's 30th president, which I have actually read as well. She's also the author of 2 other New York Times bestsellers, The Forgotten Man, A New History of the Great Depression, and The Greedy Hand, A History of the U.S. Tax Code. And she is currently serves as a presidential scholar at the King's College, where she teaches economic history. And you've heard Ms. Harville just recently. She is the great-granddaughter of President Calvin Coolidge and First Lady Grace Coolidge. She speaks frequently about President Coolidge, detailing his rise in politics and describing the Coolidge family. She lives in Westmoreland, New Hampshire with her family, and actually fairly close to where we live as well. And Matthew Dennard, who is going to speak to you later, he's the executive director of the Calvin Coolidge Presidential Foundation, and he's contributed articles to national publications, including the Wall Street Journal, Forbes, CNN Opinion, and Bloomberg View, and has appeared in broadcast outlets such as ABC News and C-SPAN. And he's also the author of a recent book, America's Advantage, a handbook on immigration and economic growth. The gentleman who will be participating in handing out your certificates to you from the Department of Homeland Security, one of them is Michael Hall, and he's the Field Office Director of the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services in St. Albans and has 25 years of government service. The other gentleman is Christopher Maynard, and he works for the Department of Homeland Security as the Supervisory Immigration Services Officer of the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services in St. Albans. And he has 18 years of government service, including 10 years in the military. And a gentleman who will be performing some tunes for you after you've been presented your certificates is William P. Wiles. He's the Director of Grants and Special Projects at Castleton State University, where he's also an adjunct professor of English. And he's a retired teacher from the Vermont Public School System and retired as well from the Vermont Department of Corrections, and has performed with the Curbstone Chorus. And he will be performing America the Beautiful and God Bless America. And then finally, the gentleman who brought in the colors, the 4 of them are Ron Fairbanks, Steve Kipp, Jim Mills, Clayton Rockwell, and they're from the Honor Guard of the American Legion Post 31, and we thank them for coming. There's others as well. Chuck Chaplow, Dick Lange, Donald Schromier, Bill Martinez, again from American Legion Post 31. And finally, there are some ladies here from the American Legion Auxiliary, Unit 31, who are going to be serving refreshments after the ceremony. Donnie Burke, President, Sharon Corey, Treasurer, and Iola McCulloch, Sergeant-at-Arms. So I think I've introduced everybody. Now I'm going to give you my remarks. Welcome to the birthplace of Calvin Coolidge, the 30th President of the United States, who was born on July 4th in 1872, sworn in as President here in Plymouth in 1923, and in 1933 was buried in the Plymouth Cemetery. President Coolidge believed all Americans, whatever their background, were equal. This is a special honor for me in my capacity as a judge of the United States and as an American citizen to address you on the occasion of your becoming a fellow citizen. One of the reasons this country is great is that over the years we have welcomed to the United States of America people from all nations of the world, from all continents, and from all races. We have a diverse, multicultural society and therefore a strong country. We should also keep in mind that at one time this country was part of Great Britain, and in 1776 a group of rebels decided that the king had made them suffer and declared independence. The Declaration of Independence sets forth 3 rights considered most important, and I will quote from the Declaration. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Your new American citizenship will entitle you to share in the individual values and personal dignity guaranteed us by the forefathers of this country through the United States Constitution, the supreme law of this land, which established our democratic form of government and set forth the rights and liberties of the American people. Vermont was not among the original 13 colonies to sign the Declaration of Independence, but was the first state to forbid slavery in its own constitution in 1777. The Constitution of the United States is often thought of as an historical document created over 200 years ago by a group of exceedingly perceptive men, now called the Founding Fathers. However, it is much more than simply an official record. The Constitution is a current set of principles established in the summer of 1787 by men often passionate in their convictions and always protective of the basic human rights secured by the American Revolution. Our Constitution is not a museum piece. It is a living document, as strong and vital and as passionately alive today as the men who created it more than 2 centuries ago to accommodate the needs and challenges of an evolving society. As the foundation of our national life, the Constitution requires active concern, as we would for anything we deeply care for. It demands our attention, our understanding of its character, and of its fundamental place in our lives. It calls upon citizens to not only be able to demand his or her rights, but also to know their meaning and responsibilities. America is a land of immigrants. Our ancestors came to this land from many nations and different cultural backgrounds. They gave us a constitution which made us our country strong. We must all be aware, however, that although America provides citizens with opportunity, it does not guarantee that such opportunity will be realized. America provides a framework for the pursuit of happiness, but it cannot guarantee that all citizens will be happy. America offers freedom of thought and expression, but it cannot endow its citizens with the wisdom to exercise that freedom. America promises liberty and justice, but it cannot ensure that inequalities will not develop or exist. Some of you will prosper more than others. Some of you may achieve positions of power, but never forget the people of every race and religion whose names will never be recognized, who have worked hard nevertheless to improve themselves and their communities, and have fought the wars of this country. These are citizens who struggled and sacrificed to keep their families together and to educate their children. These are the citizens who have given this country the strength and vigor that makes it great. We must never be complacent or self-satisfied. We as Americans are the beneficiaries of a proud inheritance which we must pass on to future generations. In accepting the benefits of American citizenship, you likewise accept its obligations. In a free society, every right is matched with a duty, and every freedom with a responsibility. You are becoming a citizen of a country that safeguards the rights of some who may even seek to destroy them. You must remain strong in your beliefs and not hesitate to act when the cause of freedom is in jeopardy. The right to vote is endangered each time you fail to vote. And that's particularly true today. In 3 months, there will be national and local elections to be held, and I urge all of you to register to vote and vote your conscience in November. The right of free speech is threatened when you do not express your convictions, and your own rights become imperiled if you allow the rights of others to be infringed upon. The rights of all citizens must be defended if you expect your individual rights to endure. You are called upon to dedicate your best personal efforts to constantly improving, strengthening, and enhancing the human society, the land, and the institutions which have made this country, the United States of America, great. You have consciously chosen to become American citizens, and in doing so, you are accepting a new country in place of the land where you were born. You have elected to make a commitment even more serious than those of us who are American citizens by birth have been called upon to make. Let us combine our efforts as citizens and work in every way possible to make America a decent and honorable place to live for ourselves and for generations to come. Recently, President Obama spoke eloquently about the qualities of this country you have chosen to become part of, and in his words, I quote, "The America I know is full of courage and optimism and ingenuity. The America I know is decent and generous. Sure, we have real anxieties about paying the bills, protecting our kids, caring for a sick parent. We get frustrated with political gridlock, worry about racial divisions, are shocked and saddened by the madness of Orlando or Nice. There are pockets of America that never recovered from factory closures, men who took pride in hard work and providing for their families who now feel forgotten, parents who wonder whether their kids will have the same opportunities we have. All that is real. We're challenged to do better, to be better. But as I've traveled this country through all 50 states, as I've rejoiced with you and mourned with you, what I've also seen more than anything is what is right with America. I see people working hard and starting businesses, people teaching kids and serving our country. I see engineers inventing stuff, and doctors coming up with new cures. I see a younger generation full of energy and new ideas, not constrained by what is, ready to seize what ought to be. Most of all, I see Americans of every party, every background, every faith, who believe that we are stronger together. Black, white, Latino, Asian, Native American, young and old, gay, straight, men, women, folks with disabilities, all pledging allegiance under the same proud flag to this big, bold country that we love. America has changed over the years, but these values my grandparents taught me, they haven't gone anywhere. They're as strong as ever, still cherished by people of every party, every race, and every faith. They live on in each of us. What makes us American, what makes us patriots, is what's in here, and I think he pointed to his heart. That's what matters. That's why we can take the food and music and holidays and styles of other countries and blend it into something uniquely our own.